Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lethal Sales. We are so happy you are all here. Thanks for coming. Tonight's topic is BDC, the redheaded stepchild. I don't know what that expression means, but my husband used to use it all the time. The redheaded stepchild of any dealership. And Larry, why don't you get started?
Sure. The reason for that reference is it's like, okay, obviously this kid isn't with the other kids, and let's isolate him and let's make him feel bad, which is basically what sales like to do. Every BDC person has battered wife syndrome. They're so tired of dragging somebody in, and then the answer from the salesperson is, "Why the hell did you bring that person in?" Well, I don't know. I didn't mean to wake you up. I figured maybe a shot to talk to somebody might be worthwhile. Um, I quoted Russell Hill today and a few others of you, and I had a large class. Rondo had the pictures out. It was really funny because this is an old dealership, and I had 15 people in a room that's set for 5 people. So it kind of looks like Woodstock from the air. But I said to him, listen, if you really want to be successful, because they all seem to want to be, it's a matter of not saying I have to, but that I get to.
That's
And
right.
it really hit home with me this week. I flew to Lafayette. Don't ask me why they call it Lafayette instead of Lafayette, Georgia. I flew into Chattanooga. I was on 2 planes in a town I'd never been to before. And I got to tell you, the whole thing was a pleasure. Both planes were okay. I did a little bit of OJ running through the airport. I didn't complain about either plane. All the seats were fine. It was a nice little ride to the dealership through rural areas of Georgia. And all I thought to myself was, how freaking lucky am I? People pay me to go out, meet people, get them jobs, teach them, and everybody knows how crazy my teaching is. And I think more than ever, because Sean and I are going to tear up Tampa May 22nd and show how sales and BDC can coexist. But I think in a world where everybody is out of their freaking mind, half this country are completely nuts. More than ever, it's important to have a great attitude. Thoreau, I always quote Thoreau, who said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. They get up in the morning, man, I got to go to work. This is going to suck. They're miserable all day, and then they rinse and repeat. But I'll tell you, I just feel lucky. I'm excited every damn day that I get to do my thing. I'm really excited from this May 22nd thing because I've been friends with Sean Armour and his son Mason since he flew across Canada to see me. I'm going to hang out with Mandy, and we're going to go to dealers. Peter Smith may be joining us, Mandy. It'll be like the Three Musketeers. Okay, only 2 Canadians and one crazy Philly guy. Um, and it's just great. I'm looking around this program, and then I'll get off my soapbox. I got Rhonda, who's been really just a blessing for me as far as a marketer. I got Jeff Shearer. By accident, we tripped over each other. We become best buddies. Mandy and I are going to have an unbelievable time and cut a path through Tampa. I don't have to tell you how close you and me are, Russell. It's a little scary. We sound like we're on a date sometimes, finishing each other's sentences. Sean and I are, with the help of Rhonda and Peter and all you wonderful people, and Wendy, of course, are going to hopefully get this thing cranked up where every 3 months we show people what to do, and how to be more affable and how to work together, because it's really pathetic that sales and BDC are at loggerheads when they should be locked in. I was teaching today, so I missed Wendy's show, but I bet you she was preaching to the choirs and letting people know how important BDC is, how important sales is, and how important they can be if they work together.
She was on it.
Yep, she always is. Mr. Larkin, I have a fabulous time with you. It's like having an exchange student in the house because you always send me these things. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but you look
Put my phony
fine.
Irish, put my phony Irish accent on.
I'm just having a great time. Okay. Peter Smith and Rhonda are working behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, doing everything they can. Tony Thorstad is doing what he always does. And for anybody that doesn't know, Ron Boss and I, he was kind enough to let me help him with some dealership things. Man, I have so much damn fun with this guy, and we're going to turn his dealership into a juggernaut because he's one of the nicest, most hands-on owners you ever met in your life. And you can't outwork this guy. And we've got Abdul, who was kind enough to send me some information. Abdul, we will get to you. This is one of these shows where everybody gets to speak.
No
But
problem.
Yep. And we're super glad you decided to join us. We're going to start with Peter Smith, and then we're going to jump to Sean because Sean is an acknowledged, along with Wendy, BDC experts and not annoying experts, useful experts.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear from Peter. And if I haven't mentioned it already 12 times, May 22nd, Tampa, Tampa, Hyatt Grand. We're looking for all you to be there.
Close
Drag your
enough.
friends, drag managers. We are going to tear up Tampa. Mr. Smith, by the way, lovely shirt, Peter.
New haircut.
Very
Look at him.
In case you don't know, later on in the show, Peter is going to sing a medley of Prince tunes starting with Purple Rain. Hence
I
the
love
nice
that.
top.
Stop it.
I love that.
The pink shirt, it's not purple.
Says
Hey.
you.
I'm
And-
colorblind. Me and dogs. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Just roll on, okay? See, you can't pay the guy a compliment. You were right
So,
about him.
you know what?
Sean said earlier that the only worthwhile Canadian on this show is him. He said it, Peter. I would never start any controversy.
Well, I kind of agree with that. But you know, back in the day and back up here in Canada, we used to say your mother dresses you funny. So
Wait a minute. I just want to mention if anybody doubts Peter's commitment to being an influencer, is it okay if I tell him the mugging story where the guy put a knife to your neck in New Orleans and you said, "Where'd you get the knife?" I noticed there's no inscription on it. We'll talk later, Peter. Go ahead.
there you go. So having said all that, Larry, I'm really going to defer to Wendy and Sean on this. I have things. My thoughts with BDC might or may not align with theirs, so I'd like them to go first. But a BDC is a necessary evil within the dealership, and I call it an evil because it is, like you said, the ugly stepchild of the dealership. No one wants to really deal with them because they're doing this and we're trying to do this, and it's just a back and forth challenge all the time, and that the congruency is the challenge, and it's what one in 100 dealerships that actually can get to that level, and that's what really this seminar that we're putting together in May is all about, is how do we get those two departments to actually interact at speed, not just interact, but interact at speed, so that our customers have the transparency, the customers have the fluidity, it's just so important that we get that in a dealership. If we don't, BDCs are the ugly stepchild. Sales departments become the prima donnas. The service departments are just a pain in the ass. Everything just starts falling apart if you cannot have that communication. So with that,
Well, hold on. Let me before we introduce Wendy and Sean. Does everybody agree with me that it's so stupid that all salespeople want is traffic, and instead of bolstering and working with the people that can drive the traffic, there's antagonism.
Oh.
It's just crazy. All right.
well,
Wendy,
the challenge is getting sales, and I will say this as and I'm going to say it, and whether people believe it or not, as a world-class car salesman, being in the top 5% of the world, we wanted the low-hanging fruit.
Yep.
We just wanted to pick the easy fruit for the eating. Nobody wants to work at it. No one, like, everyone would look, and you said it many times. Oh, go help that guy. Oh, that guy's just kicking tires. Send the new guy. It's that way of our business, and we have to change that dimension. And one of the ways of changing it is with a BDC, a properly run BDC. But I like the other term that I use, BRD, Business Retention Department, because we're losing 91% of our customers over a 4-year period.
beautifully said, Peter. Wendy, instead of tucking you in the back, you'll be the lead-in act for Mr. Armour, who is flexing his biceps and can't wait to get to May. Wendy, I'm awful sorry I missed your show today. Tell us what wondrous things you're working on for BDC to pull us all together.
So thank you for that. And I just want to say a couple of things, and then I'm going to defer to Sean because I want to hear more about what you guys got planned on for May. And so let me just say, and this is going to bleed over from our call this morning. So I think what your guys are doing together is going to be so impactful because we're circling back to the problems we've been trying to address and that we've been restating for 20 years about bridging the gap, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that. So I'm going to go with the right now and moving forward. So it was made clear yet again today on the human side of AI that we don't know the future of the BDC. We don't know the future of the sales department. We don't know the future of advertising, marketing, this, that, whatever, with the emergence of AI. So the roles in the BDC are going to morph into whatever is necessary to continue to use us, any dealers that really want to make it moving forward, as let's add another one, the engagement team. Okay. Because in my opinion, especially when a lot of the things that I'm doing, BDC's roles have changed so much. I work with so many more agencies than I do direct to dealer right now because a lot of the agency efforts and the providers that are serving up AI, texting, and emailing are no longer making the phone calls or using the humans, which is where the magic is made when the humans connect, and then we help people, we solve problems. So we made it again ever clear that it's all about the data moving forward, that it's clean data, that it's not a bunch of different SaaS providers or AI providers or dashboards or CDP tools or anything else that are going to have siloed data that's not going to match up against one another. That dealers have a number of, like April Simmons, to quote April Simmons, ADD, another damn dashboard, or no fluffy duffy crap. So we need to get down to the brass tacks of BDC. And and Sean, I can almost echo your own words about architecting and whatever it is, revamping revenue generating business development centers is what is going to be the key. But what we have to do is forever look at and strategize and analyze and determine based on the data, the clean data that we've compiled to fit whatever culture, how are we best going to do that? So we're going to have to figure out what pieces we want. The main problem is we need to continue to listen to our dealers and solve their problems. We had some dealers on the call this morning from the fixed ops side, and it's really, really a sad state of affairs, which is why it's so important to blend sales and BDC right now, because it's happening not only in variables, but it's bleeding over to fixed ops. And fixed ops is going to be the important hub of the dealership moving forward as people move to digital retailing and whatever else they go away with on the sales side. So let me just say that I think it's important that we listen to our dealers. Like I said, that we, I don't know who that is. I think, is that you, Jeff?
Sorry,
That's okay.
man.
I'm just like,
don't
oh,
have
a
an extra
squirrel,
life.
a squirrel. And it's kind of distracting me. Sorry. Oh, a squirrel. Oh, no, it's Jeff. So I think it's super important that we pay attention to what's happening in AI so that we can listen. And I think we need to remember that it's the data. It's getting your data in order, getting your house in order, to their point with the coming workshop, and to get our people in order, make sure we have everybody in alignment, and then find out how we're going to add AI to complement all those efforts. But that's about all I got. We need to listen to our people. We have to remember the human side, and we have to remember that we're all here to grow stronger together and that we're people helping people. And that's about all I got.
Can I ask one question before we jump to Sean? And I'm asking it of you and
Please.
Sean. I
Please.
always preach sales service meetings. And I talked about the contests I had where I split the people up into 3 teams with some salespeople, some service people, parts, body shops, so they grew together. Sean and Wendy, are you seeing any dealerships or many dealerships holding little meetings with the sales and BDC team so they can align and they can get together?
I have a great one. Let me jump in, Sean. I have one that we launched like a month ago, and it's a really exciting one because it's different. It's an EV dealership, EV only, EV and hybrids. And they're actually inviting our BDC to participate in their pending meetings, in their Save a Deals, which is absolutely essential. I think that sales and BDC understand the roles that one another play so that we can help one another and lock arms and move forward together. And the other really cool thing is you see a lot of sales departments fighting with BDC and trying to get who gets credit for the appointment that was set because they physically set it in the CRM. This dealer has the mindset of it doesn't matter who records the appointment in the CRM. And we're going to be complimenting one another. If they need more EV knowledge or whatever, we pass on to an EV specialist, but we remain the liaison between sales and the customer and establish rapport, create the relationship, nurture it, etc., retain the customers. But they're like, all we want to do is sell cars. So we sell appointments, not cars. And anytime we have anything over availability, we TO to the product specialist. So it can be really happy and streamlined and seamless, the process, if you set it up the right way, whether it's variables or fixed ops. And I'll let Sean speak to
Sean,
that.
did
Thank
you get that? She said that she has one dealer that lets sales and BDC cohabit and work together, and it's an EV dealer. So this will be another Tesla dealer that gets burned down. We got one dealer that's effective, and his building's going to get blown up. Very sad. Mr. Armour, you up?
Interesting. Thank you, Wendy. That was a lot. That was awesome. Peter as well. I think I have the luxury of having a different vantage point, in the sense that I guess my brand of BDC is internal in-house BDCs. Originally, and this is very important to the story because this is literally what I'm bringing on May 22nd. Like, I am literally going to work in the paint on May 22nd. People are taking notes, like they're leaving with actionable items, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. One of the luxuries that I have actually is when I work with the dealerships. First things first, no one ever calls me when there's smoke billowing, from the dealership. It's literally on fire. The walls are falling, and it's, hey, Sean, fix this. And yesterday. So interestingly enough, I think we all know Tom Klein. Tom Klein was actually at the dealer group yesterday, and he gave me a shout with the dealer principal, and he had a couple of BDC questions, and sounded like he was doing great. He's had a BDC there for 10 years. There's, as he referred to it, we got two girls in a room, and they're doing a bunch of tasks, and things are going well. Cool. I get it. My first question to him, and not to be adversarial, is, can you please define what well means to you? What does that mean exactly? And it's okay. There's you're going to get a broad spectrum of different answers from different people. So first things first, what does well look like? Right? That's number one. Couldn't really give me a definitive answer, which is okay, because no answer or a jaded answer or what have you is also an answer. It helps me distinguish where we're going to start. That's number one. Number two, he said, well, we have a couple of adjustments we like to make. Things are going pretty good, but we just hired or signed up with Impel to get their AI. I guess this is an AI agent of some kind. So he says, we literally just signed up with Impel, and we're going to get this AI BDC character in there. I'm like, okay, great. Listen, I'm not saying that's not good. However, where are you going to place this AI? Did you create some kind of an internet lead workflow to really understand where the combustion points are to put in the AI, or are you just going to let this thing go loose? Again, couldn't really get an answer because obviously everybody is really seduced by the pageantry of what BDC AI can do. So I'm not really against that. So what I am, how can I say? I'm cut from the cloth, whereas everything requires a documented process. BDC is not the goal. The BDC should be the vehicle that gets you to the goal. Having a BDC is not enough. It could be super costly to any dealership, right? So there's four main reasons. There's four main reasons why a BDC would fail that I've seen. Obviously, there's a couple more, but the four main reasons are the ones that we're going to attack. So the first is when the owner is not behind it. The second one is when there's friction between departments. The third one is when it's poorly managed by the BDC manager. And single-handedly, the most important one is when the BDC becomes what it is not. Now, I don't know about you, Wendy, and perhaps you can help me because you've seen a lot of BDCs. I work with internal BDCs. I was at Cavender Group. They have like 9-10 stores. I was with Covert in Chicago as well. So one of the things that I often look at is the way that the BDC is set up. And to no fault of their own, the BDCs have always been set up, first of all, we said the word today, in silos. And the pay structure mimics that of the sales floor. So if we're hiring a bunch of people and we're dumping them, like you said, Larry, because this is literally how I was brought up. There's this one room that used to be a GM's office or a general salesman's office. We gave it and we sandwiched 4 people in there, and we're asking to do over 110 calls a day while everybody's talking over each other. So first of all, the environment that they're in is not conducive to growth. That's the first thing. Secondly, Larry, I believe you said that there's a dealership that's inviting, or Wendy, I believe you said there's a dealership that are actually inviting BDC people into the meeting, correct? That's great. But what I would like to know is that, are they actually speaking? Or are they just a fly in a wall taking notes? Right? So the idea for me when I'm working with dealerships is to legitimize the BDC as a tangible business unit within the dealership. And the only way to do that is to grab the BDC manager and really, really dial their minds into, you are running a business within a business, right? So instead of, it's so antiquated. Instead of these pay plans and these bonus structures based on tasks and number of calls, and this, it's so, they got it so confusing. It's super, well, it's not super easy, but my approach is performance-based pay plans, percentages. As Wendy said it, and I will say it as well, the core purpose of a BDC is to provide traffic. Provide traffic. So if we have standards, which are typically speaking, plus or minus 5 or 10%, but typically speaking, 30% booking, 65% show, 12 to 15% sold. That's the basics. That's where you start. Now, obviously, do we want more? Of course. So if we have an industry standard based on percentages, my question always becomes, why are we paying what I call atomic numbers? Hey, I'll give you $25 if you book an appointment, and I'll give you another 20 if they show. If I'm an entry-level employee making $15 an hour, while all the salespeople are making all the money outside chain smoking and reading the funnies and doing all the crosswords, and I'm obligated to do 110 phone calls, 110 phone calls on a daily basis. That's just shy of 800 a week, right? While you look outside and everybody's just kind of, just walking around the dealership and whatnot. What do you think I'm going to do as an entry-level employee? If you tell me $25 for every appointment I book, I am going to start booking appointments. Whether you're ready to buy, whether you're not ready to buy, I am going to work my pay plan. So I think single-handedly, the first place I am absolutely going to start on May 22nd, I am literally going to open up my little secret book. I am literally going to have one slide in front of us, and it's going to be a reporting slide. And I am going to, I believe it was Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Efficient People. One of my favorite ones that I've adopted to my business is begin with the end in mind. So what I'm going to ask everybody that are BDC as well as the salespeople is, and I'm going to land the plane soon, what percentage of global sales is the BDC responsible for? Can anybody even give me that number? Because I know what it is. Because if we don't start with that number, which is 30% at a baseline, 30% of all vehicles sold, used and new, global sales, 30% need to come from the BDC in order for it to be a revenue generating department. That's where you start, at the 30%. Now, does it take 100 appointments to do it? Does it take 30 appointments to do it? That I don't want to say is irrelevant, but as long as we're getting to the 30, which is producing the revenue, why are we so focused on tasks as opposed to the end result of aligning the BDC with the goals of the sales department? So I'm going to be starting off 100% the first half, Larry, like what we spoke about. I'm going to be teaching the BDC how to even communicate. How do you even communicate with a sales manager? because it's always by feelings. Oh, I feel this and I feel this and I feel that. Well, hey, guess what? No one cares about your feelings. You're waking up in the morning and you have an opportunity to come to a place to make a lot of money and to really level up your team and to level up the dealership. So I'm going to start off with communication 101, and I have it down to a science. And then at the end of it, like I said, I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of numbers, and I'm actually going to define for everybody in the room what are the real metrics that actually move the BDC forward as a vehicle.
Hey, Sean, why don't we get a Brooke Furness, but she loves both of us, as a guest speaker, and she can just come out and say facts, not feelings. Then we can usher her off the stage.
Let's get a recording, because I have a feeling, Larry, you're gonna pass your talking time on that part.
What? No.
Get out the swear jar, Rhonda.
I only went 3 hours and 10 minutes today in a room. Rhonda have the picture up. 15 people in a room set for 4. Listen, Sean and I are overly excited because we really are good friends and we're excited to work together. And Rhonda and Peter are doing their usual unbelievable job, and it's going to be a lot of fun, excitement. But if you don't mind, let me just jump off to jump back in. We got Laura Berman, who I've started working with on some projects. She's unbelievable. And she's suffering like I'm suffering, because we set up a couple interviews and a guy drove an hour and got 3 minutes with a manager, which was enough to have Laura want to commit homicide, and it would be justifiable. But we've also got Ron Boss, who's a hands-on owner of a dealership. And I did spend a little time with his BDC. I'm nowhere near the expert Sean or Wendy is, but Ron, what are you seeing? Are you seeing some progress? Did what Sean and Wendy said make some sense? What are you thinking, my buddy?
Well, I think that number one, there's always room for improvement. I years ago we had somebody come in and really, I guess outline the BDC. We had the appointments, shows, and then actual sales, and how that pay plan was created. And I was listening to kind of a reminder, but I personally, I think that there's always room for improvement, but there's a lot of changes that are coming in the industry, which is a constant change. Nothing's set it and forget it anymore. We all know that. So I think that, staying kind of ahead of the curve, like for me, I just personally think that just in general, we can do a better job. I have one guy, I look at how much he makes a year, I look at how many cars we sell a month, and I think to myself, like, the math doesn't add up. Maybe it's just me because it's the market. Obviously it's a roller coaster right now. It's not COVID, it's not any of that. It's and especially my brand is finally, kissing and making up, if you will, is the best way to describe it. So, quite frankly, I struggle with trying to understand it. I try to, just to see, I don't think the guy that I have in there's a bad guy, but, sometimes as an owner, you sit there and you go, okay, well, if I'm paying this guy X amount of money every year and I'm only selling X amount of cars, why not look to maybe farm it out for, half the money every month, these are the things that kind of struggle. And then of course there's, if I'm going to take that and then turn it over to somebody who's off site, that creates a whole bunch of challenges as well. So it's figuring out how to cultivate the person that you have, and is he receptive, to the changes? Is he receptive to learning? Because my frustration as an owner and as a manager is when you talk to somebody and you either try to give advice or you try to make a pointer, it's, oh yeah, I know that, or yeah, I tried that, or no, you didn't. Okay, because I wouldn't be talking to you if you did. You know what I mean? Like I go through this with my service advisors, my salespeople. Hey, oh yeah, I did that. No, listen, you're lying. Like just like stop. Like just take a second. Listen, I'm not here to berate you. I'm not here to beat you up. I'm not here to beat you down. I'm just making a suggestion. And man, people get really defensive, and like I'm calling them out, and it's not it at all. I'm just trying at the end of the day, listen, as a dealer, I don't care who you are as a vendor, what you do, Okay. I look at the board every day. I go, how many units can I put on that board? Okay. You could have some magic pill that's going to get all these people on my lot. That's great. How many cars can I sell in a day? That's just from the top. I'm not saying that, there's a whole process, because then what happens is, they come in, or I'm just generalizing. I'm not singling anybody out. And it's like, well, this person didn't do this and they didn't do that. And that's why you didn't get this result. And so it's like, everybody just points fingers and so on and so forth. So just to
Hey,
land
Ron,
in,
let me interrupt for 1 second. I think we were all feeling that if the ROI isn't there, then why are we bothered doing it? Because you only have so much money and so much time. When I was in your store, we talked about that if they get a request on a car, that what they should immediately do is send a
yes,
video walking around the car. Are we seeing a little progress with
yes.
that?
So, so to be honest, I don't know that I can't answer that because I have not inspected. Now, if I were to ask somebody, I'm sure they're going to tell me yes. Okay. And I don't believe it. I'll just be honest with you. I don't believe it. You and I sat there. We had the conversation. I even brought it up in a Saturday sales meeting. I said, how many of you guys are taking the call and then just taking a video? It doesn't have to be, we're not making an MGM movie here. We're just making a quick video. Hey, Mr. Smith, thanks for calling. Here's the Infinity, Lexus, whatever you call it about. Just a quick walk around. Look forward to meeting you. That's it. Is that getting done? If I had to put money on it, I will say no, it's not.
Do
And
we
then
all
when I find,
agree? Do we all agree that this is true insanity? I mean, we have become such video addicts that you got people spending time watching cats play piano. So if this is how addicted we are to the nonsensical world of social media, we got to play that game, right? I always quote Willie Sutton, the bank robber. They asked him why he robbed banks. He says that's where the money is. If video is where people are looking and where you get the most exposure, how hard is it, particularly if other dealers aren't doing it, to say, here's the car, here's who I am. Boy, are we glad you inquired. Because that's a very minimal investment of time, Ron, and it doesn't cost you any money. It just makes you money.
I'd like to
oh,
jump in if I could, if you're done. I didn't want to cut you off, Ron.
no, I just wanted to land with this. Like,
Ron,
I
notice,
thought,
notice he didn't care if he cut me off, just you. Maybe the tie you're wearing. I don't know.
Was it
because
that
he said
noticeable?
my name, Larry, not you. Okay. So look, I'll just finish with this is that, what Larry's talking about is so easy and basic that and I don't know why, they're not, it's not getting, like it's, I'm uncomfortable with it or I'm too busy. Like, listen, I already got 2 or 3 people on the floor. Larry knows who they are. A couple of them, but just forget it. Don't even bother talking to them. It's not, they're the seasoned guys that have been around for, 40 years. They know everything. And, they're my low guys on the totem pole, but that's a whole nother story. But some of the younger people trying to get in and trying to cultivate that, it's like it's a complete team effort. My frustration, quite frankly, is that if I say, hey, we should do this, and then I give them a couple examples, and then it's like we get the excuses for why not to do it and so on and so forth. And that goes in a whole nother direction. That's now I got to deal with the sales manager and everybody else. And that's coming. Like, Larry knows I've been really parked in my service department for a while, so I'm finally getting back up to the front. But I'll just leave it at that, and just that's my frustration and my challenges. So
So,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks. I'd like to kind of bring it back to focus on BDC as a department. And most of you in the room that know me, know my backstory, but I was part of the AutoNation Direct pilot launch in Florida to sell vehicles online. And man, you talk about, we might as well have put bricks around the building we were in just to keep the retail guys out because they hated us, because it was just so new and they thought it was really easy, but we had a totally different way of selling. And BDC wasn't even an acronym back in then. This was like late 90s. So we were internet department. And then all of a sudden everybody had to have an internet department, and BDCs, I'd like to think grew out of that. And I'll defer to Sean and Wendy for validation of that, but really not my point. But a dealership is made up of departments, front end of the store, the sales department does their thing, service does their thing, parts does their thing, finance does their thing, and everybody's kind of in their own compartment.
But wait a minute, Jeff. Don't
Department.
we all acknowledge that for every department to be more effective, they have to interconnect?
That
They have to.
you're stealing my thunder here. So, and I'm amazed and pleased to hear Wendy said that, yeah, we actually, get invited to the table. Okay. Because one of the things, everybody's got their own thing and they tend to be a little bit protective of my department, you know, and it's easy, especially, and I experienced the retail guys pointing fingers at us. You guys have it so easy. You don't have to be here every day. Well, we were team selling. So there was three of us and we actually sold the first vehicle that AutoNation ever sold at our store. But part of that, you could take a day off because you trusted your counterparts.
Mm.
And you didn't have to worry about, oh man, now I'm only going to get half of that deal because we pooled it. But you got to have the right people for that, right? It's not for every department. And it's probably not for something that has 10 salespeople because you're not going to get 10 people on the same level. But my point, getting back to BDC, is that, what are they doing? I think they're still kind of mysterious of what they do. Oh, we got a campaign. We need you to make these outbound calls. Okay. Which for a guy that is selling AI and voice bots and everything that has to do with I still think outbound calls need to be made by humans because I just don't think it's just not the right fit, in my opinion, for AI at this point, for bots to be making outbound calls. Service appointment, confirmations, reminders, beautiful. But if I'm calling trying to sell something, it needs to be a human. And I hope Wendy's still there and can echo that because I know that's true. I Unless you tell me otherwise. But so that's the point. The silos are still there, and we always start these conversations on many Wednesdays saying, guys, we were talking about this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and here we are. And the tools have changed, but the businesses really haven't, you know? And one thing when I worked at Bass Pro Shops too, we had a lot of departments in that company, way, way too many. But one of the things they did, they used to have a lot of corporate get-togethers within the building. And of course, with Johnny Morris, knew all country singers and stuff. And, NASCAR sponsors, they'd have Jeff Gordon come in, and guys. So it was really a rah-rah event. But they gave out like 500 oars, paddles, because the point was we're all rowing the same ship here. It's a big boat, and everybody had kind of put it up in their cubicle, as kind of a reminder. And I think that's lost because, parts has got their own agenda, and they're relying on service. And service hates parts because they never do everything right. And they're slow and they're pointing fingers there, and parts is pointing their fingers at sales because they want stuff done too quick, right? And they can't get through the line. So there's still a lot of politics, a word Wendy and I were kind of kicking back and forth today a little bit, but there's still a lot of politics within the dealership. What do we do to get everybody together shaking hands?
Well, I think Sean will tell you because he's going to speak next. You invite everybody to Tampa May 22nd. Listen, Sean, when you're done, I would really love to hear from my girl Laura and Abdul. We haven't heard from my buddy Russell, and we always want to hear from Mike Larkin and Mandy. So
yeah, I just really quick 2 minutes because I felt Ron's pain and I deal with dealer principals all the time, like on my discoveries and when I first meet them, like I hear this story time and time and time and time again. Provided, of course, if it's in Ron, can I ask you for? I don't think we've ever met, so it's good to meet you, sir. But can I ask you a few questions if that's okay? Maybe 2 or 3 questions.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm literally going to help you right now. So is your BDC, because like Jeff said before, there are internet departments. There's a broad spectrum of different setups, and I'm not against any of them, right? It's really to meet people where they're at. So Ron, is your BDC like cradle to grave with the internet leads?
So they are, I it's basically so cradle to grave, not necessarily to the grave, but I mean to the point where they are in. The customer sometimes will actually request to speak to the person that
Mm,
called them,
okay.
which is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but then sometimes you can't help but wonder, does that
Yeah.
they think they're dealing with, his name's Randy. They think they're dealing with him the whole time to find out Randy is a BDC rep. And
Yeah.
then now that they've cultivated this relationship with him and to turn it over to a salesperson, it
Yeah.
does usually go smooth in that regard. But, because Randy is smart enough to reassure, look, if you need me, I'm close by,
Yeah.
that. So, but that's, if
So
that
I'll
explains it.
I'll send you an olive branch with regards to Randy. That's the BDC rep, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. So what you can do tomorrow, and again, this is not a shameless plug, but I've never met you, and Larry's there. I'd love to help out if ever the need comes up, because we could audit first of all. But what I would recommend to you, and this could be done, it will take maybe 1 or 2 days with regards to scrubbing data, but it's all about data. That's the only way that you're ever going to get the two departments to play in a sandbox together. Everybody is governed by bills, mortgages, kids, food, rising prices, and now all of a sudden, the politics of what's going on. So the first thing that I would recommend, and that I've seen time and time again on my most performing dealers that I've been working with, at the end of the day, 30% of your sales should be coming from Randy, regardless of the tasks. If he does 10,000 calls, 5,000 calls, 500 calls, that is performance based. When we're talking about like what Larry said before, to get your ROI for Randy's salary, start off at 30%. So whatever global number your used and new cars, break it down. 30% used, 30% new should be coming from Randy, and then just work it backwards. Just start with that number. So whatever the number is for April for new cars, calculate 30%. If that becomes 16 vehicles, well, all of Randy's efforts throughout the month of April need to produce 16 vehicles, because then you'll take your 16 vehicles and you multiply it by your gross profit, which should be roughly about, I'm not sure what stores you have, but let's just call it between 3 and 4K. Would that be roughly about right?
Yeah, about 3K, right around there.
Roughly. Okay, let's put it at 3K. You take 16 times 3K, that far outweighs his salary. There's your ROI. Now, obviously, you want a little bit more, but Randy just essentially has to pay for his seat and then some, right? So I would start at 30%, divide that by whatever, whatever target the new car has, and that is Randy's monthly target for April. Start there, believe me.
Got it. I'm gonna dive into this a little. I'll have some time over the next couple of days, just because we're finishing up March, but still,
Of
You'll
course.
be able to see, where we are. And listen, not to say that he's not doing, a good
No.
job. I'm not, you know what I mean? It's just a frustration of, if I'm doing, and our volumes have, scaled way off. But if I'm doing, 40, 50 cars a month, no one used, and it's like you're sitting there scratching your head, like, okay, what is, how do we either pick this up, or what's the opportunity? And kind of to your point too, like there's a whole nother dynamic of, if you get a special finance lead, well, that's a whole nother direction. That's,
I do
you
do
know.
understand, but Ron, you don't have time for these headaches. 30% is 30%.
No, you're right. You're right.
I don't care what it is. I want 30% of the vehicles to
Mhm.
come from this department, because it's quantifiable by the gross profit.
But no, I'll dig into, like, and I
Sure.
kind of feel we are close to that. But again, I don't want to speak to it and tell you with complete confidence.
No. But I just
You know.
to send you
But
an
you
olive
need to
branch.
get a grasp on it, Ronnie, because we all know on this show, if you can't measure it, you can't control it, and you need to get this thing under. Hey, if you don't mind, Sean, we got
No,
some
go.
guests on, Abdul, Laura, and then of course we want to hear from Russell and Mandy and Mike. Laura, how's your day going? Abdul, tell us, about what you're doing. You sent me some interesting information. Any
Yeah.
thoughts, either one of you, or both of you?
Yes, I'm Abdul here. Can you all hear me?
We hear you beautifully, Abdul.
Okay, well, it's so great because I've been involved with automotive business after 10 years of insurance industry from 1980 to 1990. And I got into the car business because all my in-laws were in it. And from Pasadena to all the way to Cerritos Auto Square from 1991 till 2016. And then I decided to go on my own, and we partnered up with Dealers Direct, one of the top marketing at the time, that we were changing from paper to digital to all of that. So about a year and a half ago, when pandemic hit, I also had a huge call center digital marketing company out of Bangalore, India, top-notch talent that I recruited, two partners over there. And we ran a 24 seat over there to produce this thing. So out of the blue, a very, very dear, a longtime friend of mine that was in IT and graduated from Stanford, joined IBM Watson about 15 years ago with their AI department. And there was three of them that were running AI training for all the technicians and analysts that were getting recruited from Bangalore, India, which is pretty much the 85% of all AI generated through the knowledge of IIT, India Technology Institute, that come down here. So for me, being in your age group is really refreshing, because when I've been fortunate enough to have known Vindy for about 2 years now, and I've seen really from. I remember when I joined the car business in '91, we had the consumer magazine. We thought it was the end of the car business, because now they know invoice and holdback, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got your weekend sales and straight sales and finance. So did it all. So it came down to being a GSM, and thank God Almighty, in the African American community here in Southern California, I've built a very, very good reputation, because when all the refugees would come from the Russian invasion, I would put them in the insurance business. And after 9/11, they'll come to Los Angeles. I'll put them in the car business. And from closer to finance to the desk, from BDC to internet, I've seen every facet of it since 1991, along with the rest of you. But then, fortunately, through my Facebook, my friend pinged me from San Francisco, and he said, "My dear Abdul, I left IBM Watson about 6 months ago, and that's a 500K to 750K job a year. And I'm doing AI platforms on my own. And within 3 to 5 days, he would create a platform for mortgages, the realtors, the insurance industry, to injury lawyers, you name it, and especially for Middle Eastern, Mediterranean food. He bought a platform, Non-Dash, and you look at it, he's already got 28 platforms that are in the top 5 ranking of Google within weeks, not months, not years or anything. So he said, the only guy that I really think I could trust and rely on to have the experience and the knowledge to show me the way and get into the automotive, I'm calling on you. I said, let's go, let's roll. So I put
Hey,
together.
Abdul, we want to hear more of this, and you're invited every Wednesday, but
Right.
we're sneaking up to the witching hour, and I really want to also hear from Laura and
Right.
Mandy and my
Just a
boy,
brief-
Mike Larkin.
brief-
Come back next Wednesday. We always encourage everybody to
Yeah,
speak.
well, Wednesday mornings, I've always been with Wendy at 8 o'clock in the clubhouse, but I hear a lot of aches and pains of Fix Ops and BDC. So I'm just bringing sales and branding to the dealership, and sort of integrating sales, BDC, and service department all under one platform. And within a 30-minute Google Meet or a Zoom meeting with our co-founder, our founder and CEO, we could pretty much put together a platform to sell new and used cars and brand those cars and raise them up to start
Abdul, come back next Wednesday. We'll let you talk more. I just
Be
don't
there.
want to. I don't want to miss anybody. We're very democratic on this.
Absolutely. I enjoy it, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity. And
You're always welcome. You're always welcome. Laura, what are your thoughts? I know Laura's been running around like a nut, helping a myriad of dealers, and her and I have been working together beautifully. Laura, your thoughts, and then we'll hear from Russell and Mandy and Mr. Larkin.
Sure. Hey, everybody. Hey, Larry. So this was my first time on tonight, and I've just been sitting here listening. So I think I need to be on all the time. So, Larry, you and I first met each other, and Sean, and I think Wendy, the first time we all met in person was in Vegas a couple years ago. And we're all on the
So
APA on
wait a minute, Laura, was
Clubhouse.
that the trip you made with your husband or the one you made without your husband that you and I don't talk about too much in public? I want to make sure.
Guys, where did we find him?
I think he found us.
I know, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know where, but we're
Notice,
trying to
notice,
keep him back.
Sean, she didn't deny it. She
I
laughed
didn't
over
No,
answer
she
it.
didn't. That was a classic pattern interrupt.
Yeah. I'm going to defer to
But,
Russell Hill on this one.
But I know, right? Nothing happened. But it was a great time that we had in Vegas. And I would say for the past 2 years, I've had a relationship with another recruiter. And I thought I need to just give Larry a try. And guys, I have to tell you, I'm blown away. Like the afternoon that he placed our first ad, boom, we had candidates. And I was not used to that. So if you're looking for a plug, Larry, I'm totally, totally impressed. The way you communicate, everything has been wonderful. So pretty excited, but I work with dealers all over the country. We do product services, we help with recruiting, and I'm very glad to partner with Larry.
She also has an amazing program which kind of bisects the payments. And at a time where payments are through the roof, plus there's never been a better time to make it a little bit more affordable and work around the paycheck. So
Yep, we do biweekly payments. We match the customer's car payment to their payday. And we don't teach financial literacy in this country, so it really makes sense. As the customer gets paid, they're paid every other week. We just take half a car payment. We pay it off early for them. It's a great program.
yep, couldn't
Sounds like
recommend her too highly. We still got Mr. Larkin, my girl Mandy, and Russell Hill, and we would not conclude a show without hearing from all three of you fabulous people. Who would like to go first? Mandy,
Mike,
Russell?
go ahead. Or
Ladies first.
Mandy. Oh yeah. Hi, Mandy.
I'll keep it short. I just want to say that it is a really great topic. I do have experience in the virtual BDC space, and I just have so many questions and so many things that we haven't talked on. So I can only imagine that May 22nd is going to be just jam-packed full of stuff that we haven't even been able to touch on today. I'm just thinking about the training and just the conversations that we need to have around making sure that people know exactly what they should be doing and how to really bring the sales process all the way through. So I'm really, really excited for what you guys have to bring there. That's all I have for you guys today.
Gonna have
Go
fun.
ahead,
Russell, Michael.
Russell, go ahead, man.
I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Ron, great to hear from you. Sean, Laura, I think I met you at that Vegas thing with anyway, Abdul, it was good to have you in here tonight. See you next Wednesday. Peter, wake up and go to sleep. Mandy, great to hear from you. Rhonda, as always, you make this room complete. And Mike, you're I'm you just keep evolving and learning 1% a day, brother, and you got it. Larry Feldman, what more can I say? Just near and dear, character and integrity. I'm honored to call you my friend. And
Right back at you.
Wendy, you were fire today. You're fire every day. So thank you for all you do of bringing awareness to the human side of AI. Sean Armour, you're a stud, man. That's all I can say. You're a stud, and look forward to seeing you soon. That's all I got. I left a minute for you, Mike.
Nice.
Mike,
I'm gonna have to follow Russell Hill again.
Mike is the
Wait a
minute man.
Mike. He complimented everybody, and Mandy mentioned May 22nd twice. This better be damn good, Larkin. Or I'm
Oh,
really
Mike,
messing
no
the
pressure,
hat.
brother.
I got your headshot, Larry and Sean. So I'm prepared. I left a link in here, the good, the bad, the ugly, about a new tool that's the linchpin. Okay, and we're dealing with above the funnel. Okay, and then I'm looking to partner now with people that have technology like Russell, like Jeff, like the BDCs. So I've got that part done. Okay, now we need to monetize it. But take a look at that video. It's hysterical that a press of a button and we can create a video just like that. Children's videos, inspirational video, all that kind of stuff. But people watch that. So I'm Mike, and I'm dropping my mic.
All right, Mike.
Peter
Can we do
and
cats? Can we do
Rhonda,
cats?
any fine words from you fine folks?
No, just tomorrow is the end. Well, it's not tomorrow, but the last Thursday of the month, and it is Women in Automotive on Automotive Innovators and Disruptors. We are talking about um, conquer and overcome, conquer, and communicate.
Hey,
With
Peter, can I make a quick suggestion? The next, because you're smart enough to focus on women since they influence 80% of the decisions. How cool would it be if I know you've had Wendy on, and she always knocks it out of the park. How cool would it be if on one of these women's shows that you had both Mandy on and Laura Berman? I
Yeah,
mean, it's hard to be
absolutely,
any more positive than those two are. Everybody likes them and knows them, and a little bit more exposure for both of them wouldn't hurt anybody.
absolutely, absolutely. That's a not a problem. Not a
I'll
problem.
say au revoir because I
Yeah.
will be in Paris next Wednesday,
Oh,
thinking
cool.
about you guys.
Oh,
So
have fun. Sounds like fun.
Are
Jeff,
you
do you
going to
speak
join us?
French? Jeff, do
Hey,
you speak French?
that's about as much as I know,
That's
but I
you
have
know,
Google. I
it,
have Google
Poisson.
Translate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you reach out to me? I am a sophisticated man of the world. The only thing I know in French is, "Hey Pierre, I think I left my French fries in your Renault." That's about it. That's the extent of
I
what I
know.
can.
I know. I like their toast and their fries. So
There, there we go. Rhonda, thank you so much. As usual, you're the hostess with the mostest. Folks, we appreciate every damn one of you. We're going to work together. We're going to the hell with what everybody else is thinking. We're going to make this industry better. We're going to make ourselves better, and we're going to have a lot of fun and enjoy Paris, my friend. Safe travels.
peace out. Blessings.
Yeah, take
See
good
ya.
pictures.
Talk to you tomorrow, Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good
Thank you for
night.
All right.
coming.
Thank you
Night.
so much.